Former U.S. President Donald Trump's influence over ultra-conservatives in the Republican Party was evident at the annual gathering of the Conservative Political Action Conference in Washington, D.C. In his 2-hour speech, Trump branded himself as the people's warrior in what he claims is the final battle for the nation. And he also topped a straw poll as the preferred Republican Party candidate in 2024 U.S. presidential elections. Benji Haya has the details.
In a half-scripted, half-riffed, rambling set of remarks, the twice-impeached president hailed attendees as being part of the greatest political movement in the history of the United States, as he took direct aim at the current administration's domestic and foreign policies. His MAGA brigade was not out in full force, but they did drown out protesters with chants of USA and lap up his attacks on Joe Biden and the so-called fake news media. And no surprise, really. I mean, this was less CPAC, more TPAC, Trump's Political Action Conference, with vendors selling his hats, stickers and t-shirts, and the annual gathering, once considered a mainstay for traditional conservatives, finding itself transformed into a haven of Trump's most stalwart supporters. One man who says he has a simply exceptional relationship with Mr. Trump is former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro. Far from his home country, he's found a warm reception in some parts of the US, earning himself a rock star entrance as he too took to the stage to address CPAC crowds through a translator. Mr. Bolsonaro's anti-vaccine remarks received a standing ovation before the populist politician teased a possible third campaign for his nation's top job. In this moment, I thank God, he said, for my second life and for the mission of being president of Brazil for one term. But I feel, he added, deep inside that mission is not over. His presence stateside is not welcomed by all, though. After thousands of demonstrators stormed Brazil's Congress in an attempt to overturn last year's election result, several key members of the Democrat Party here formally called on President Joe Biden to revoke Jair Bolsonaro's visa, which he used to enter the US. Mr. Bolsonaro, following that vote which he alleges without evidence was infected by fraud, flew to Florida and has remained in America since. Elsewhere, White House hopeful Nikki Haley on Saturday took a major swing at her own Republican Party over government spending, arguing it's not just Democrats who are to blame for the exploding national debt. Yet she stopped short of calling out Donald Trump by name. She was one of those who did attend CPAC earlier in the week, notably several other would-be 2024 presidential contenders, including Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and Trump's Vice President Mike Pence, chose to skip the event this year, as did the many figures in the senior Republican leadership positions. Donald Trump believes, in his words, that he's the only hope, I should say, for Republicans. If you ask those at CPAC, they largely agree. But once a competitor enters the fray, maybe, just maybe, they'll fall behind someone else in a bid to defeat Joe Biden. Benji Haya, CGTN in Washington, D.C.